This is Resort Cheyenne, which is themed like a sort of a western cowboy city. And because we're here in the beginning of the reopening time, it's very empty, and it makes it kind of seem like a ghost town, which kind of, you know, maybe improves the theming somewhat, I don't know. And there are buses that go to the parks, but we prefer to walk, especially at the moment with, you know, trying to stay distanced from people. And there's actually two paths, but at the moment one of them is closed because it goes through the Hotel New York, which is still under construction to be transformed to the Marvel Hotel. I'm going to be doing a video about the resort here and about our room, so if you want to see that, be sure to go through the library, or I'll try to link them in the description below if I've done it already. And otherwise, just relax and take a walk with us. If my voice sounds funny, it's because, of course, I have a mask on to cover my mouth and nose. That over there is the other hotel, which name I can't think of right now, and I want to show you. Usually this path also goes to the parks, but this is the one that's closed just a little bit of a further ways up here because it goes through Hotel New York. So we have to go over this bridge to, it's called Hotel Santa Fe. I just couldn't think of it for a second. Here are the kids. And we will basically follow this canal for about a 15-minute walk or 10-minute walk until we get to the Disney Village. This is our first time staying in an official Disney resort, and I definitely like the fact that these resorts are walkable. When you're staying at Walt Disney World, it's only the most expensive resorts that are within walking distance to any of the parks. So to be staying at a value level resort and be able to just wake up and go out your door and walk to Disneyland or Walt Disney Studios is a pretty cool thing to have. And it's not really sunny today, but it is summer and it is warm, so don't let that get your mood down. If you see clouds in the sky, it's still very comfortable. Here you can see the canal and the not very clean looking water. I don't know if that's just because everything was closed for so long and it's going to take them a while to get, you know, the water kind of like purified and back into shape. But I definitely wouldn't want to go swimming in there. And because this canal goes along a lot of the hotels, you would think that there might be, you know, like friendships or boats like you've seen at Disney in California or Disney in Florida, but there is not. And here, if you look at, this is the path on the other side that I said is closed, and you can see there's like weeds growing up out of the path and trees coming out through the cracks. So it's been closed for a while and it doesn't look like anybody's really taken care of it. Speaking of being closed, this here on this side now is the very impressive, beautiful looking Sequoia Lodge, which is also an official Disney resort, and it has not yet reopened. So this is a Disney resort that's been closed for, I don't know, almost 4 months now. And there are some lights on in the rooms. And we have seen work being done, but at the same time, it still feels very quiet and very deserted. It's weird. It's weird to be at Disney in the middle of summer and have it be so empty and so quiet, and to see, you know, like, when have you ever been at a Disney resort and been, you know, in a situation like this where it's like we can look in this direction and see nobody, and hear nobody. This direction, see and hear nobody. And we continue on here, and yeah, I know that family is in front of us, but otherwise it's like we have the whole place to ourselves. And of course, that's a nice thing, but on the other hand, it's sad because it, you know, makes you think about what's going on in the world, and that, you know, not only are there people getting sick, but there's also people losing their jobs and losing their homes. And anyways, that's why it's nice to be at Disney again, and I'm glad that they're open, and I'm glad that there are a lot of measures in place to keep people safe, and I'm glad that for the most part we've seen everybody following them very strictly and carefully. This path, by the way, when the parks are closed at night, this path, when we were walking back, is so nice and quaint and kind of relaxing through these trees with the lights. It's a lot of atmosphere. This is the indoor pool area of the Sequoia Lodge, and I would love to stay at that hotel sometime. It reminds me of the Wilderness Lodge in Florida, which I've also never stayed at, but I've been there to have some meals. Here you can see across there, that is the Hotel New York, which is still being transformed into its new identity. It was supposed to be open this summer, but from the looks of it, I don't think it's going to be. And I don't know if I've said it yet or not, but there are only 2 of the 6 official Disney resorts here in Disneyland Paris. Only 2 are open right now. Hotel Cheyenne that we're staying in, and then I think it's called the Newport Bay Club, which we'll be seeing in a second. You can see here the theming. This looks very authentic. It feels like being in the forest in the upper west side, upper west coast of the United States, like Oregon or Washington. But this was all landscaped and built here in the early 90s. But they definitely did a good job. Could imagine, you know, just grabbing a glass of wine at night, sitting down here as the sun goes down, having a sip of wine, talking about the day, relaxing with someone you care about. Here you can see just how empty it is and how quiet. Yeah, let's keep going. And like I said, the nature path, like the quaint, shady part, is about to finish. And we're going to arrive at the big open lake area here. And straight across there is the Disney Village, which we're going to have to walk through in a moment. And down here, this is the walkway to the the Newport Bay Club, the Newport Bay Hotel. I'm so sorry that I'm not saying these names right. I used to be so good at that. And now the more I do this and the more hotels and things I cover, I just get their names mixed up. I'm sorry. Anyways, you can see there's nobody here. I guess they can also walk along the other side, and maybe that's why. But we'll keep going this way. What you're seeing in front of us right now is the construction area of the New York Hotel. This is a hotel that already existed. Like I said, it's just being reimagined or transformed. They're redoing the rooms, redoing some of the public spaces, and they're adding the Marvel characters. I think it's going to be pretty cool from what I've seen.
Do you want to put a little more Disney into your Christmas this year? Well, I've got the goods for you. Disney Parks Monopoly and the adults-only Cards Against Disney are two things you can order from Amazon that bring a lot of Disney into your home and are fun in two totally different ways. And if you order them using the links in the description below this video, you also help support the very unofficial travel guides. So, if you've ever dreamed of buying Space Mountain and charging your friends thousands of dollars to ride, or if you want to find out what happens when you tell your fairy godmother to bippity boppity back the f off, get some holiday shopping done right now and follow the links below. Now back to the video.
There you can see on the other end of the lake is the very large and majestic looking, I just read the sign, it's called the Newport Bay Club. So I kind of got it right. And that is, as you can imagine, one of the more expensive resorts here at Disneyland Paris. But the most expensive resort is called the Disneyland Hotel. And it is the first of the Disney hotels that was ever built over the entrance to like a Magic Kingdom park. And we'll be seeing that in a minute. But can you imagine staying in a hotel, waking up in the middle of the night and looking out your window and being able to see like into Disneyland and see the castle and see them, you know, sweeping the streets and getting ready for the next day? That is like a dream, a childhood dream come true for me. I would love to do it sometime, but the hotel is just outside of my budget. I can't justify spending that much money to do that. But if anybody wants to give it to me as a gift, you can send me the money. You can join my Patreon at patreon.com/veryunofficial, or you can send it to me as PayPal as well. But I definitely don't expect any of you to do that. So this is where we go through bag check, and I will be back with you in a moment. Bags have been checked. This is the Panoramagique balloon ride, which only costs 15 euros a person. Takes you up into the sky to get a good view around the area and of the two Disney parks here. And this is the Disney Village. And you know, California has Downtown Disney, and of course Disney World in Florida has the crazily huge and vast and varying Disney Springs. And this is what is offered here in Paris. And I'm going to put some music in here to take care of the copyright.
And this is the voice of Morgan. In November, as I'm editing this together, I decided it would be better to tell you a little bit about Disney Village as I'm walking through here instead of just make you listen to a song. And once again, I'm sorry about this shaky camera work. I really don't like vlogging with my GoPro because of this issue. And the reason I did is just because with the GoPro, you can film for like long periods of time. And it you know, like, if I was carrying this camera for, 20 minutes, so if I was carrying a heavier camera, it gets hard to do. Anyways, Disney Village, I feel like, is really, really ripe for an update. It's one of the areas of the Disneyland Paris resort that it just Yeah, it's not at Disney level, if you ask me. For instance, look at the surface of the ground that we're walking on. How many times have they replaced something or, ripped something up and then redone the surface of the pathway? And it's been with some kind of different product or different color, and it looks shoddy. You know what I mean? It does not look high quality. Also, compared to, like Downtown Disney in California, from what I remember, and of course Disney Springs in Orlando, and I know you really can't compare much to Disney Springs in Orlando. There really isn't much anywhere that has that level of variety and Disney magic, I guess, when it comes to shopping and dining and nightlife. On this trip, we spent 3 nights, or had sort of like 3 meal dining, well, no, actually 4 dining experiences in Disney Springs. We went to Earl of Sandwich, which we always do, and that was good. Actually, I think this was the first Earl of Sandwich, to tell you the truth. Can anybody verify that? Of course, I could just Google it, but I can't do it right now while I'm chatting. We also had Starbucks, and Starbucks is also, the same everywhere you go. But then we went to Planet Hollywood and also Wapiano. There's a Wapiano outside of the Disney Village. It's sort of on the back of Planet Hollywood, kind of. So it's not officially part of the Disney Village, but it's right there in that area. And both our meals at Wapiano and at Planet Hollywood, they were so void of any kind of flavor. It was like they were cooked with no salt, no pepper, no garlic. And Marcus said it tasted like hospital food, like the kind of, very bland food that you get when you're in the hospital. And yeah, it was just sort of confusing. I think of French cuisine being so full of butter and so full of flavor and so decadent. And the food that we had at Wapiano and at Planet Hollywood, of course, not being traditional French anyways, was just not good. And altogether, there's just some atmosphere missing in Disney Village. A lot of the venues are really big, so they were built to have like 300 people in them at a time. And because of that, you sacrifice a lot of atmosphere, I guess is just what I'm trying to say. So I think they should take some of the big restaurants they have here and chop them up and make them into different, like 2 or 3 different spaces with different atmospheres, different kind of food being offered, different kind of culinary experience, and that would make it seem like there's just a little more variety. And offer, maybe now like a burger restaurant, and offer takeaway cocktail restaurant or something like that. So many people walking through here on their way back to their resorts. We definitely, if they had a takeaway cocktail or some kind of like takeaway pub, we definitely would have grabbed a beer or grabbed a cocktail on our way back to the resort every night. I know they don't have the space of Disney Springs, and there's really nothing you can compare to Disney Springs, but this is just definitely a park that needs some Disney magic and a little bit of an update. Of course, with the current situation in the world, I know there's no reason to believe that anything is going to be changing here anytime soon, and it's not awful, it's just not at the level of what you would expect if you've been to Disneyland in California or Walt Disney World in Florida. Okay, now back to Morgan in the moment.
Vous devez porter un masque et vous couvrir la bouche et le nez lorsque vous toussez et éternuez. Pensez également à vous laver les mains souvent et à garder. Welcome to Disney Village, and thank you for visiting us today. For everyone's health and safety, please wear a face covering, cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, wash your hands often and thoroughly, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. We wish you a magical day.
And here we are. There you can see the very majestic Disneyland Hotel. Just on the other side of that is the entrance to the Disneyland Park here in Paris. One of the most beautiful Disney parks anywhere in the world. A lot of people would debate that it is the most beautiful Disney park. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of videos about that on this channel coming up soon, so make sure to check back and subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Over here is the Walt Disney Studios Paris Park, one of the smaller, if not the smallest Disney parks in the world. Also information about that park coming up here on the channel, so be sure to check back for that. And I hope this video helped you get an idea of what it's like to walk from the hotels to the entrances to the park.
And Oriental rice, and I know Marcus ordered this at least twice, so he must have really liked it. And here is my plate 7, which is more couscous, fantastically prepared green beans, and 4 falafel balls. This is actually the only main course plate that is meat-free, but I ended up ordering this and then another one of the starter.